Shalom everybody, hope you're doing well, hope your week was great. Getting ready for another Shabbat in the world. Shabbat Parshat Eikev. We'll jump right into it with the opening words of the Torah portion, which say like this. V'haya Eikev tishmun et mishpatim ha'ele, ushmatem v'asitem otam. Talking about because, or if you will keep the laws of the Torah. And it goes on to say that all these different brachot, all these different blessings will come to the nation of Israel for their following and their commitment to and their connection to the path of the Torah. And it's an interesting language, this language of Eikev. Right? It's the second word of the Torah portion. It's what the Torah portion is aimed after. And it's coming grammatically to be used in the form of if or because you keep the Torah, so all these things will happen. But it's a strange kind of language. It's not a language that we see very often. So, of course, there's much to say about that one word, and many commentators do. And I just want to mention one idea, this idea of Eikev. Again, used in this context on the simple level to mean because or if, and we know that there exists, in addition to the simple level, many deeper understandings of each verse and every single word of the Torah, and we can discover layers and layers and understand the Torah on various layers. This is one great opportunity for us. So what is it saying? Why is the word Eikev used here? So one idea is like this. The word Eikev also comes from the word Eikev. Right? What is Eikev? It's the heel. It's the part of our body that's right next to our foot. It's the lowest part of our body, the heel. So there's an idea that's shared from various sources that the Torah portion starts off talking about, keeping the Torah, following its path, following its directives, following its ways. But we need to bring it down into this world. It's not something that's just supposed to, hover above our heads, hover above this world, remain in this lofty realm that doesn't have much of a connection to this physical world. That we need to take these lofty spiritual ideas and concepts, which are all embedded into the practical mitzvot themselves of the Torah, the practical laws and rituals and ways of the Torah. We need to take these lofty spiritual ideas and make them real by bringing them into the world, by bringing them to the level of the heel, of the level of the Eikev. So follow the Torah, live the Torah, be the Torah, learn, understand, question, struggle with the Torah, but you got to bring it into reality. You got to bring it into this world. It's not supposed to remain this spiritual lofty concept that we climb a high mountain somewhere and stay up there. We need to come down from the mountain, as we said before. We need to come down into this world and make it real, integrate it into the physical reality. And when we do that, so then we open up the wall springs of blessing in this world. From above and below, we open up what this world is really about and what this world can really be about. When we live the Torah and the level, so to speak, of the heel, the level of a physical, everyday reality, one step at a time, walking through this world. Right? But what does that mean? What does it mean to live the Torah in the physical realm, in the physical reality, on the physical realm? What does it mean to bring it down into this world? So I think we get help later on in the Torah to understand this. And it says later in this week's Torah portion, it says, V'ata Yisrael, and now Yisrael, children of Israel, Ma Hashem Lokecha Shoel Me'imach. What is God? What does Hashem your God ask of you? Right? If God's asking you one thing, imagine that God had one question for you. What would that question be? What does God want to ask of us? And the verse finishes like this: Ki'im liyira et Hashem Elokecha. To have awe of Hashem, your God. Liyira et Hashem Elokecha. To have yira. I know it's a beautiful word in the Hebrew language that's very difficult to translate into the English language. Oftentimes it's translated as fear, which I think sets up a block for many of us, if not most of us, in understanding that fear. I should fear. What does that mean? I should be scared of the God that created me, that created the entire world. It's a little hard for us to understand that and even bring that into our lives. But when we understand the root of the word yirah, I think we can better understand it and better be open to bringing this into our lives and basically asking or answering this question that God is asking of us. Right? Yirah, it comes from the word also re'eh, right, which means to see. Le'ot, ani ro'eh, I see. Right? So what does it mean that Hashem's asking Li'irah et Hashem Elokecha? Not necessarily to have fear, but to have awe. What does it mean to have awe? It means I'm so overwhelmed in a positive way. I'm so overwhelmingly in awe because I can sense, I can see, I can feel the presence of something so much greater than me and so much greater than all of this world all around me. And with that kind of awe, with that kind of sense of understanding and feeling on a tangible kind of level, we can live our lives in a very different way. From moment to moment, from person to person that we meet and speak to, from every action, right? From every day to day, it could change our lives. So what is God asking from us? To live in this way, to live on this level where we have yirah, where we see, where we understand, which leads to this awe, which leads to this way of living that in every single moment is guided by the sense of like, of course there is a creative force out there. Of course there is a creator of this world that is guiding the entire world, including me, that wants something of me, wants me to live my life in a certain way. And with that kind of understanding, that kind of sense of awe, again, our lives completely change. Going back to the beginning of the Parsha, right? Via Eikev Tishmon. If you do the mitzvot of the Torah in this kind of way, with this kind of yirah, with this kind of this kind of seeing, this kind of understanding, this kind of awe in your lives, that's what I want from you. That's the way the Torah is meant to be lived. That's the way the Torah was meant to be brought into this world, down into this world, on this quote-unquote, so to speak, lowest level of all levels, to really be integrated into this world in a way that could bring together the spiritual and the physical. Right? And through that, again, the blessings come. The blessings are abundant and the blessings overflow. And just one last thought connected to all of this, even though we just said that this word Eikev is not a word that's used in this kind of context very often, we do see it used in another place in this week's Torah portion, when it talks about the nations that lived in the land of Israel, the land of Canaan, as it was known back then, before Bnei Yisrael, the children of Israel, came through. We know that the children of Israel were told to come to this specific land, and we also know that there were nations already living there. And it's an interesting thing, why did there have to be anyone living there? Why did the Jewish nation have to have this challenge right at the beginning of its existence with these other nations that were living in this land that they were told to come and inherit? Right? And we know eventually from later in the Tanakh that there's a lot of battles, there's a lot of war, there's a lot of conflict that arises from that reality and that situation. There's lots of things to say about that. I don't want to get into so much detail, but I just want to share this one other use of this word Eikev. And it says like this: Kagoyim asher Hashem ma'avid mepnechen kin tovidun. Eikev lo tishm'un b'kol Hashem Elokechem. Right? So it says like this. Right? It says when you come into the land and you inherit the land and you settle in the land, right? Just make sure you don't lose your way. Make sure you keep this path that I'm laying out in front of you. Make sure you keep this path that I'm instructing you to follow and to live and to bring it into your lives and to integrate into this world. And it uses this word Eikev once again, because if you lose the sense of awe, if you lose the sense of understanding of how to live the Torah on this level of the heel once again, bringing this sense of awe and seeing and knowing into your lives on the deepest level, on the lowest level, so to speak, so you're going to lose everything. I'm not sure, the video got a little messed up, I'm not sure if I said this before, but you'll lose the greatest of all gifts that God has given you, that God has prepared for you, the land of Israel. Right? That this land is a land which demands on some level a certain level of living, a certain spiritual sensitivity and understanding. It says also in this week's Torah portion, this Torah portion is once again filled with so many incredible spiritual teachings. Right? It says later on in the Torah portion that this land is a land that the eyes of God are on all the time. All the time God is, so to speak, looking on this land. Right? From the beginning of the year until the end of the year. Right? It says, Tamid enei Hashem lokecha ba. All the time, Tamid. Every moment, God's eyes, so to speak, are in this land. Because this is a land of seeing. This is a land of yirah, or eh. Right? This is a land that, if you're going to live inside of its borders, you must be living on a certain level of seeing, of understanding, of truly living the spiritual concepts of the Torah. And this is the reason why the nations were driven out before Bnei Yisrael, because they lost that way. They weren't living on that level. And Bnei Yisrael were invited, so to speak, to have their chance. But God's warning them as well in this week's Torah portion that just like the nations before messed up and lost their chance to live in this holiest of lands, you too, the Torah says you're not special. Right? You too are given the chance, but you also might mess up. Right? You also must fulfill your requirements, so to speak, and live up to the task, live up to the requirements of this land. So many different things, so much more, but we'll just say Shabbat Shalom for now. We should be blessed to really be able to see and to live our lives with awe, with understanding, with a sense of knowing in every single moment who we are, what we're supposed to do, and bring it down to the deepest level, the lowest level, so to speak, the level of Eikev, the level of Heal, and really make it real. Lots of love and blessing from the land of Israel. Shabbat Shalom.